there's quite a groundswell of new adventure motorcycles coming to South Africa, and especially in the small capacity market. Behind me, the new Kawasaki Versys 300X.
Kawasaki's strategy in the battle for market share follows what has by now become a fairly familiar pattern. Team Green have become past masters at the art of raiding the parts bin in order to develop new models, and this, their latest offering, the Versys 300, is a case in point. It takes the engine from the Ninja 300 and combines it with an adventure frame. And if you are a Ninja 300 rider, you will also recognize the dashboard and the switchgear. With a peak power output of 39 horsepower at a whopping 11,500 revs per minute, the mating of this engine with this particular frame is possibly a very odd choice. On the other hand though, this is fairly close to the power output of the legendary KLR 650, which has been around for quite a while and around the world a few times in the process. Because the bike also uses the Versys designation, that is an indication that Kawasaki is positioning this bike as more of a road bike. However, the wheel size combination of 17-inch at the rear and 19 at the front, and also the fact that these are spoke wheels rather than forged aluminium, gives an indication that this bike might have some level of off-road capability.
One thing to note though is that the Versys is not a KLR. It has got the ground clearance if you do want to venture off the grey stuff. However, there are some plastic covers on the side to protect the bike, but the underside of the bike is completely exposed.
As is typical for this genre, the seating position is upright and neutral, and it offers sufficient legroom for even taller riders, with the seat being 82 centimeters above ground level.
Even though this is a very small bike, the brakes are ABS assisted and they offer plenty of feedback. It is worth noting though that you cannot switch the ABS off if you want to go off-road with this bike. This bike offers a slipper clutch and clutch assist, which translates into the lightest clutch I've ever felt on a bike. The light clutch, together with a very smooth engine, makes this bike very easy to ride, even for inexperienced riders. If I have to point out a negative on this bike, it is the seat. The seat is about as soft and plush as this. To be honest, if I have to go to Gamkaskloof tomorrow, I would rather take this bike over a heavy adventure bike, and the simple reason is its lightness. However, I would not want to ride the 1000 k's to get there because my posterior will be paralyzed way before my arrival. Having said that, the X-300 is a joy to ride, provided you keep the little mill on the boil. At highway speeds at about 120 k's an hour, the engine was running at 9,000 revs, and at 160 it redlines. You can really throw this bike into corners, and its lightweight will be of great help once the tar ends.
Now, this end of the market is set to become very lively, with various manufacturers having entries in this engine size category. The Baby Versys provides the ideal platform for riders into the adventure market and onwards to later purchases. If you want to find out if adventure riding is your thing, what better way to get acquainted with it than with a bike as light and nimble as this one? And if it turns out that it isn't, well, then your money won't be wasted, because this little beauty still makes a fantastic commuter during the week.